Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could be with us today. We want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. We're glad to have all of you with us. Going to bring in those joining us on IG as well, so they can be a part of our conversation. And last but certainly not least, going to bring in our friends over on Amazon Live so I can reintroduce to some, introduce to others, our next guest. And we're glad to have her on to talk about her current projects. And we're now live on Amazon Live with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, going to type you guys in a welcome message over there. I want to thank you guys once again for making us last week one of the top 5 media shows here on Amazon. We appreciate all your support. If you guys are not following us, make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see some of the books by our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Dr. Norma Mclauchlin to our broadcast today. You guys know her because of her work with Chosen Pen, but also her own platform in writing books for adults, both fiction and nonfiction, and for children as well. We're going to talk to you about a very busy 2025 she's been having and really writing a lot, talking about a chosen pen, but also let you guys know what she's doing when it comes to education as well. Dr. Norma, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you, Cyrus. I'm so excited to be back, as I always am. But this time I'm even more excited because we're bringing forth some of the things that I've started to do this year. After not such a successful year last year, but I'm excited. I'm excited to share with everyone some of the things that I'm doing.
Yeah, and writing has been a very big part of your year. If people joined us for our conversation last month, they know why. Dr. Norma, that you had plenty of time to be able to get some writing in. But what has it been like for you to see the way that people are responding to the books you've released in your new series?
It has been phenomenal, really, because during the writing process, you're writing to a particular audience, but you're not necessarily thinking about or digesting how that audience is going to respond to you as an individual as well as to your story. And I have had such a great response from parents, students, children, classrooms, and all about the books that are being presented now. And of course, one of the reasons for writing it was the heart of trying to make sure that all of our children know who they are and where they came from. And that's the main focus of this, the book. I've been in many, many classrooms knowing and hearing the way that our generation, not only our generation, but our forefathers, where we came from the beginning of coming from slavery and from Africa, and not only representing from the time that biblical times, how we're represented and how that's taught. And you don't see that. So that's the impetus really for being this. As I said, I've been in classrooms. I've taught on the Navajo reservation and saw how their books were very similar to the books that we had. They were doing some of the same things, learning some of the same ways. So it's my heart went out to all the children that are not European American. Yeah. Because that's what was being taught. And so it's trying to say, okay, you have a history, you have a past, you have something that you need to be proud of and that you need to be walking in yourself.
Right. Dr. Norma, you shared with me something that you had written, and it really has stuck with me after I read it, because I think so many people can relate. As someone who grew up reading and loving books, I love to be able to see myself in books, but also to be able to immerse myself in the world. One of the things that you wrote, Dr. Norma, was the importance of that you matter. Your story matters. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that for yourself, that your story mattered, and that his story, like what you're sharing now in your series, matters as well?
Well, I think it started with me in elementary school. Because my most memorable thing is reading the Dick and Jane series. You're probably too young to even realize that's what we learned from. But all of my experiences and my thoughts at that time were trying to do things that Dick and Jane did. Mm-hmm. Dick and Jane went to the beach. Dick and Jane did whatever. And my big goal in life at that time was to go to the beach. And my aunt finally made a bathing suit for me and took us to what we thought was the beach. But when in my later years, not very many later years ago, I realized that they took us down to the Hall River and we played in the sand. And we thought we were at the Atlantic Beach. But at that time, then I started thinking back, well, if all of my references, my frame of reference is on that type of book, that type of what I learned from those books, and all the pictures in that book were Dick and Jane. They looked like Dick and Jane. None of them looked like me. So in my dreams and in my reality, going to the beach, that's what I looked like. That's what I thought of myself as.
Yeah.
So I'm going, so in later in life, I'm going, I mean, and I did that. I went to high school. It helped integrate the high school there, and all the books that we had. Still, nobody looked like me. And even at that time, I had teachers, and the teachers even looked like me. In elementary school, everyone was the same race. But then there was no one for me to see. Then I went to college. I went in the military after that. But the military was kind of, I had people there that looked like me, but the leaders basically were not. Then I went to college. I went to Fayetteville State University, which is an HBCU. And I'm going, oh, Eureka. Because everybody there was like me. Examples were like me. The textbooks had people in them that looked like me because the professors there were the ones who were writing the textbooks. So there was a whole new world coming out for me. And I'm going, okay, well, if I'm just getting here and I've been out here, I'm 20 some years old, then there's so many children who do not or are experiencing the same things, which means they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They don't know. The only history that I had of knowing when I was from my grandparents talking about their history and their past and about slavery. And then, but then after the 8th grade, that wasn't a lot of history there for me. So from there on all the way to now, I've been trying to make sure that students, children all above all, know who they are. And that's a big push that we do. I have them do in our schools. As a matter of fact, I'm writing curricula now for all of our grades that are predominantly African American. Totally. It starts out with talking about where you came from, and leads up and just runs alongside of the European history and African history, and all the different texts are the same, except the insignificance of what we did with them.
Dr. Norma, you just brought up something really important, and I hope our audience caught that. So I want to kind of go back because, as you were talking about the journey of, as you mentioned, being able to read books and then not seeing yourself, and then going to a place where you did, was that one of the things that kind of catapulted you to want to create a place where other young people didn't have that problem? Where is that kind of how the school came about?
The school came about because of my son, who had been to private schools, and I guess for the first 2 or 3 years. And then he was in public school, and then he was getting ready to go to middle school. And I had friends who told me, okay, he's been going to private school. He's only been in public school for a year or two, so you may not want him to go to middle school. And I'm going, okay, well, it should be okay. I looked at them. I said, the curriculum, everything looks pretty good. And then they kept telling me, I said, well, okay, well, let me figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Because my husband and I are both working. And so in order for him to be educated, he's got to go to school, go somewhere during the day. Yeah. But he was saying, well, Mom, he wanted to go, of course, because his friends were going. And then one day he came home, he says, Mom, I understand now why you don't want me to go, but I have found a way to go so you won't have to worry about me. Nobody will be picking on me. I won't have any gang members or whatever. I said, what happened? And he says, well, the gang down the street, in the neighborhood down the street, told me they would look after me and take care of me while we're in school. And I said, okay, well, that's the end of that. You will not be going. So I immediately went into prayer. Okay, Lord, you're going to have to help me, show me some way for my child. And that was, again, when I have this relationship with the Holy Spirit. He tells me things and I tell him I'm not going to do them. But spoke and said, look, well, you can start your own school. You can have your own school. Educate your own child. So that's how we ended up starting the school through the church. And it's been 20 some odd years now that we've been there. And a lot of kids, my husband and I were just talking about the number of children who've gone through our academy. Some of them haven't graduated from there. Some of them have gone on to different types of schools or whatever. But our motto, of course, as I've said to you, we will not lose one child to the world. So no matter where they come, my goal is to meet that child where they are. And that is going through the forgiveness process, going through who you are. Do you know who you are? Because our first days of school, that's the big question we ask, who are you? And they get to write about who they are and where they came from. And we get to do a genealogy somewhere along the way, go back and talk to grandparents and those things, and trying to figure out who they are. Because my big belief is if you know who you are and that the significance of who you are, that you are in America, but just about everything in America was built by your people.
Yeah.
You don't know that. So let's educate you on that so you'll get to know that. So you can feel the importance and the significance of who you are.
Such a great point. I want to give some shout outs, Dr. Norma, over on IG. Hello to you. Chris, good to be able to see you. Stacy Thomas, hello to you. Tessa Marie, hello to you. Tessa Marie says, um, good to be able to see you over there. Tessa Marie says, congratulations. This is powerful. Stacy says, congratulations on the school and the books as well, Dr. Norma. And this goes to a bigger point, and that is what you're showing is possible, Dr. Norma. And I think what I always have said and what I believe in my life is something that is replicatable. And that is, people can look in their own neighborhood and say, okay, maybe I can't start a school, but what can I do? What difference can I make? What has that been like for you to know that you've been the spark for a lot of people, Dr. Norma, as to seeing what they can be able to do to make a difference in their little world and their community?
Well, I'm a big person that says I can't. And and people, all my people tell me I've told them what to do. Because I'll tell them, you can do that. Yeah. And if God has brought you to me to talk about that, then I'm going to help you make sure that you're successful in doing that. Anybody, if this is what you want to do, there's no reason you cannot start your own school. We've been doing it for generations and generations. Most of our HBCUs were started by some lady or some woman in a one-room school in a basement or somewhere. Yeah. So we have the abilities and the background in order to do that. So if you want to do that, if you can't figure it out, give me a call. We can help set that up. I've helped other people do that. I mean, if you just want to do something on your own, if you have the time to homeschool your own child, it's something that you don't have to do. Homeschooling is you don't have to set up and do that every day, 8 hours a day, just like we do in school. That lockstep method, that is not what you need to do. I can help you do that as well. I'm a big proponent in homeschooling. I've not done it. I wish I had done it because there's so much more that you can do to broaden that child. The one time in the summer when I'm working with my son, or even during the year, I take him out of school travel trips. If we're talking about the state of North Carolina, we went from the ocean to the mountains with him in order for him to see the states. And along the way, he had to name each county as we passed through them because they were learning the 100 states. And so those types of things were something that you can do that actually we learn by seeing and the traveling and looking about and stopping at the landmarks. And that was much more beneficial to him than sitting in the classroom trying to remember dates and times. And places, and of course that he never remembered again. So,
right.
But he does remember going to Kitty Hawk. He does remember climbing all the lighthouses. He does remember, going. We had students we took to the Piedmont to look at, learn how North Carolina does it's the pottery state of the nation. So we did that. So just they have those memories that when we're talking about North Carolina, they can talk about.
And I think that is such a big part for our audience to keep in mind. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. Excited to welcome back my friend, Dr. Norma Mclauchlin, to our broadcast. You guys know her as the founder of Chosen Pen that does a whole lot of things, but she's also an author her own right. I have some of her books she has here, her children's book, have other books she's written here. Forgiveness is a big theme for you, for sure. I think, I want to say, even looking at some of the books I have here, Martin's Heart, A Story of Forgiveness. You have Harriet Tubman, A Journey of Freedom and Forgiveness. And then you have Booker T. Washington, A Journey of Hope and Forgiveness. What is it about forgiveness, Dr. Norma, that makes you want to write so much about it? I also have your adult novel here, The Forgiveness Game here. So what is it about forgiveness that has made that such a theme for you?
Well, basically because of how I grew up and integration and all of those things. But we know as a Christian that your whole faith is built on forgiveness. And that's a big piece of it in trying to let people know that in order for you to live the abundant life that God has said that we can live here on earth, on planet Earth, that you must forgive. and you must forgive continuously. It's not a one-time thing. But even in that, I did learn that I could not do the things that God put me here to do without practicing forgiveness. It's difficult to forgive, to write. It's difficult for me to write stories about forgiveness and be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And initially that's what was happening, because I'm working with people and I'm talking about being true to yourself, knowing who you are. But when I'm doing this, I'm thinking about, but they treated me this way. I was spit on, I was thrown things at, and in order to get through that, I had to forgive.
Yeah.
In order to get through the part, why did my dreams always have people in them who look like someone else and not me? So I had to forgive and get past that part of not seeing people who look like me in books, but try to do something differently. And instead of being out fussing about it, teaching hatred, crime, and those types of things, you do the forgiveness piece so you can move forward and bring other people to that place of peace, and which is what peace and joy, which is what the forgiveness does. And once you reach that spot, once you reach it, the world opens up and you're able to really, really manifest what it is that God has put you on this earth to do.
Right. Tessa Marie says, this is great. You're giving us many tips to reach out. Stacy says, Dr. Norma, you are amazing. She also says, forgiveness is something I've had to ask God to help me with. I think a lot of people, hey, Mclauchlin, good to be to see you as well over there on IG. Glad you could be with us too. I think it's one of those things that is so important. I want to talk about, though, the first book that I read in your children's series, Martin's Heart. I love the way that you illustrate this with the kids, the two kids, Dr. Norma, the importance of forgiveness and Martin observing those kids. Do you think that's one of the things that we need to do more of, being able to share with children the importance of learning forgiveness and what that looks like?
That is, and I've written a curriculum that goes along with these books now for districts and for people to be able to teach this. But that children need to know how to forgive. You need to start that day one at an very early age, because then you don't have to worry so much about the brutality that's in the schools. You don't have to worry so much about bullying in the school. When a child starts to understand that bullying is because the other person is usually hurting. It's usually really not even about you, but about the person who's doing the bullying. And if you get to that point, and if you teach the child, okay, let's try to talk to him and figure out what's wrong. Don't take it so personally. Of course, he's hurting you. You're hurt, but let's try to turn this around so that you can help that person and not try to fight it back. The most significant part about that forgiveness at an early age, though, I found is I have a whole platform about forgiveness in boys, forgiveness of their fathers, their absent fathers, of fathers they've never known. Working them through that process. I did that with a group in Africa, a group of boys, and working through that process of not having their father and understanding that gap, that hole that's in their heart needs to be filled with love. And that love usually has to come from someone else. Hopefully it's coming from God. But in order for you to feel that, forgive that, whatever that is, and fill that hole, and then you find that young man or that young boy moves away from those things that they were practicing. You see, and trying to do a follow-up and research on that you will see that performance in schools increase, gets better. You can see the drug addiction reduces. You can see all of those identifiers that go along with that population of young men start to change.
Yeah.
And that's simply because they have accepted the fact or learn the fact, because most of them don't even know that they're carrying or harboring that bitter root towards someone that they've never even known. But once they find that out, they realize it, they forgive or try to start forgiving, working that forgiveness process, and they become whole again. And in that wholeness, they start to become more, I guess, susceptible to society or what we want them to be in society.
So it really shows that it's something all of us can work on. Dr. Norma mentioned mentioned fathers. I did want to bring attention to the book she wrote with her son, The Evolving Roles of Fathers. There it is. I have it highlighted for you guys on the Amazon side. You all can see there. You can get the Kindle edition for only 99 cents right now. This is a great book to be able to read as well. And something, too, that's a conversation piece. So as you can see, Dr. Norma has something for everyone. Anissa's joining us over there on Facebook. Hey, Anissa, good to see you. Calls you the best mentor in the world, Dr. Norma.
Oh, I miss her so much.
Yeah, good to see you, and I'm glad you could join us. So, a lot for you guys to be able to think about. So, what I want to say, Dr. Norman and I, in our conversation together, when we were talking about this conversation here today, we really want you guys to get these books. And I think what is so great about them is that you'll find a theme in there, whether we're talking about Martin or Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, whatever it may be, a theme that not only young people can relate to, but I think us adults can be able to learn so much from too. You can get them here on Amazon, so make sure you all take advantage of that. Dr. Norma, how can they stay connected with you and find out more information about the school?
Well, basically for the school, you can go to New Life Christian Academy, nc.org, and that's the Facebook page. And then, of course, with me, everything links back to firstladynorma@gmail.com. So all of my other handles will point you back to that. So you can get in contact with me that way.
Yeah. Tessa Marie has a question, Dr. Norma, before I let you go. She says, what can we do when we meet adults who are bullies? That's a great question.
And it's usually the same thing, because we say hurt people.
Yeah.
And the best thing for you to do, if you can do that, is try to find out why that person is that, and not retaliate. Then you become a bully yourself. But try to find out why that person, become empathetic and try to walk in their shoes. It may be jealousy. It may be they're having issues at home. It may be whatever. But try to find out why they are being that way with you. Because I say, as human beings, I don't think any of us really want to walk around hurt or hurting. Right. And if you are someone who can cause that person to find peace within themselves so they can live in a better state here on planet Earth, then I think that's what we all need to do. And I have a forgiveness platform in front, so reach out to me if you need some more help, additional help, and I'll be happy to talk with you or to try to work you through that particular process.
Love that. Moses Maddox joining us from Ohio. Good to see you, Moses, as well. Dr. Norma, great conversation as always. Really appreciate the time. Looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you. And I thank you. I'm trying, Anissa, so you can see I'm looking all right.
Yeah. She looks great, Anissa. You leave her alone. She looks great. Dr. Norma, appreciate you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.